Hey guys, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name's Tanya, and if I look tired, it's probably because I am. This is day camp week, and I think I've mentioned that in some recipes that I've had. Remember the recipe for day camp vegetable soup? Well, that's the day camp I'm talking about. We've got second graders through sixth graders, and there's 55 of them. So I make a snack in the morning, a snack in the afternoon, and then we have lunch for them. And man, these kids are diverse. They have some diverse appetites, let me just tell you that. But some things they just get so excited. They just get excited over the simplest things. So today's the day they went on a field trip, so I'm back home and I have a chance to make a dessert. We have out-of-town guests coming in tonight, and I wanted to, sorry about the bug flying around. I think the bug's gone, maybe. I need to make a dessert for tonight, and so I thought I would share with you a video on how to make what I call fresh grape salad. And don't think that this is just one of those with like a light dressing poured over the top of some fruit, because it's not. It has cream cheese and sour cream in it, and it has pecans in it, and it's so good. I can make myself sick eating it, and sometimes I do. So I want you to go along and watch it with me. So you've already seen me rinse off the grapes. So I put them in some soapy water, then rinsed them off really well, and they're easier to actually pull off the stem without getting some stem with it if you'll soak them in the water a little while. Don't soak them too long because they start kind of turning to mush. But let's go back inside and we're going to finish up our recipe. I want to show you how to do this, and man, it's good. It's so good. I guess you could eat it for breakfast. Salads are healthy, right? So this might be something good for breakfast. So come join me. I think you're going to like it. All right, we are going to go ahead and put some pecans on this baking tray, and we're going to toast these, because whether you know it or not, or whether you believe it or not, it is actually a fact. Pecans do taste better when they're toasted. That buttery oil flavor comes out in them, and they are just 100 times better when they're toasted. I can't even explain it. I grew up eating frozen pecans straight out of the freezer because my grandparents had a pecan orchard when I was a kid, and it's one of those things you take for granted. I guess if you live in Hawaii, you just go out and grab a pineapple or whatever. I'm just making this up. I don't know what I'm talking about. But you go out and grab a pineapple and you eat it and throw part of it away. It just goes to waste. And here, we don't grow pineapples in central Arkansas, so we're like, oh man, pineapples, they're so good. And anyway, you just take things for granted. But growing up with, as long as I can remember, my grandparents always had just a large amount of pecan trees on their property, and namely just out in their yard. They had a very large yard, had pecan trees out there. They moved about the time I got married, and the new property, the new home, actually had a pecan orchard next door, which they eventually, within a few years, the person next door to them wanted to sell the property. They acquired it, and it had these massive pecan trees on it, and they were very, very productive. So I grew up taking pecans for granted. I had no clue how much pecans cost in the store, because why would I buy them? I always had them. Every time I left my grandmother's house, she made sure I had a bag of pecans with me, because, you know, you're from the South. You never want to run out of pecans. What a tragic thing to happen. So, all that being said, when we bought our home several years ago, we had several pecan trees, and at this point, we have now cut down every pecan tree because it was shading our grass so much, and it didn't make the lawn pretty. So anyway, but we have a neighbor that has pecans. We have pecan trees over at the church building, and the yard is not treated over there, so I'm not afraid of those pecans. And so we always have pecans as well. And even if I don't have pecan trees, I'm going to go find me some pecans at the store and buy them. I know they're like $1 bazillion a pound. So anyway, okay, we're going to put these on this little baking sheet. I'm going to put these in the toaster oven, which is a little convection oven. You don't want to just put direct heat on this and burn these, because they will burn. There's oil in them. But we're going to toast these at about 350 for about 10 minutes. And when you start smelling that toasted fragrance of these, you can actually smell it pretty good. Then you want to turn the oven off, let them cool down. We're going to chop these up. We're going to put them in our salad. So let's get started on that. I'm going to go ahead and toast these, let them cool off while I do something else. And then we'll come back and make our salad when they're cooled off. Our pecans have gotten toasted and they are cooled off, plenty cooled off. We have those sitting aside. In my bowl, I have a big mixing bowl here, and I have about 3 ounces of cream cheese, and it's come to room temperature. It's pretty warm here today, not necessarily in the house, but it's warm enough to where this cream cheese is pretty soft. You can see it's kind of spreadable, like frosting. To that, I am going to add about 3 tablespoons of sour cream, not the low-fat kind, just the regular kind. I'm not a fan of the low-fat kind. I figure if they're taking out the fat, they're putting something else in there. It's something I don't need. So we'll go with the regular kind. So just eyeballing this. It doesn't have to be exact measurements. So about 3 tablespoons of sour cream. We're going to add a tiny bit of salt. And when I say tiny bit, this is 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm just putting about that much in there. Y'all can see about how much that is. It's just not a lot. But I don't want to overlook the fact that salt really enhances the sweet flavor of things without making it taste like it's just so sweet it's ridiculous. So there's a balance there, and I like hitting that balance with the salt. This is my homemade vanilla, and I'm only going to put maybe 1/2 teaspoon in there. If you really like vanilla, then put a bunch in there. And I really like vanilla, and that's super good vanilla. I started making that maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I doubt I'll ever go back to just buying vanilla off the shelf again, because it's so simple to make and very, very cost effective. Okay, we're going to mix this up to where it's not quite so lumpy and you can't tell where the sour cream and the cream cheese are divided into 2. Now to that, I'm going to add this. Let me just say here, my original recipe for this calls for powdered sugar. I don't like consuming any more sugar than what I absolutely am tricked into consuming. So I'd rather use something like honey, but when you need a molasses flavor to your baked goods or your sweets that you just can't get from honey, I highly recommend this. This has a fabulous molasses flavor to it. This is called pure date syrup. It's organic. It's by a company called Date Lady, and I just got this as our local big store, and this is the goods. I mean, this stuff is really nice. So it has a great flavor to it. We're going to add about 1/4 of a cup, just eyeballing it, about 1/4 of a cup to our bowl here. Maybe not even quite 1/4 of a cup. Find a clean spot on my spatula to rake it off with. It's going to give it a little bit of a brown color to it, but that's fine. It doesn't matter in this dish. You're going to have black or red or green grapes, so just kind of adds to the funkiness of it. Now, when I say this is salad, I started thinking about it. I thought, what really denotes a salad? What's the true definition of a salad? So you look up salad, and it talks about cold vegetables and lettuces with a light drizzle of dressing and stuff like that. And then somebody asks Google, can nachos be a salad? And I'm thinking, are you kidding? But they said yes, and I thought, man, Google is smart. So yes, nachos are salad according to Google. So if that tells you anything. But this is called fresh grape salad, and of course because you use fresh grapes, but mainly because it's just a fruit. It has nuts in it, and it has a dressing, if you want to call it a dressing. It's cream cheese and sour cream, for pity's sake. It's a dessert, but it is absolutely delightful, unless you're a grape hater like my friend Randy, who I can't even say grapes without him just shivering. So he cracks me up. I always try to bring up grapes in the conversation when I'm talking to him, and it gets a good laugh going. Okay, almost finished with this recipe. So I have washed the grapes. I laid them out on a towel to dry. I have the ceiling fan on, so it being a little bit warm in here, they're gonna dry pretty quick. And I just wanna make sure all these will get coated. I don't wanna dump all of them in. I can always add more, but I can't necessarily take them out once they're coated with stuff. I just have to wash them off or lick them off, you know, whichever comes first. Yeah, I think this is gonna be enough for all those grapes. This just comes together so quick. As long as you have your grapes washed and dried ahead of time. Just toss this together. This looks like, honestly, y'all wanna know what this looks like? Looks like somebody dropped their grandma's bottle of base makeup on some grapes. Now that's funny. That is a weird, weird color. Okay, we're gonna take our pecans, and because they've been toasted, they're super easy to break up into small pieces. I'm not gonna put them through the pecan chopper because that just makes them really small, and I like the big chunks of pecans in there. I think they're great. Now, if you'd rather have peanuts in this or almonds, go right ahead. But I'm telling you, the pecans just really add a good flavor to it. You may have to hawk all your jewelry to buy pecans if you don't have access to them already. But man, are they expensive at the store. Woo! You'd almost think you have to break open a wooden shell to get to them or something. Oh, wait, you do. Yeah, they're not necessarily easy to shell, but I can see why they're so expensive. I really can. But you could add just about any kind of nut to this. You don't even have to add nuts to it. I guess you could add sunflower seeds if you have a nut allergy, and it might come out with the same, pretty close to the same taste. But this is really good, just like this. Especially appropriate during the summertime when the grapes, I guess grapes are in season right now. I'm finding organic ones in the store. That's usually a dead giveaway when it's grape season, is when you can find organic ones. Out of season, you don't normally find organic anything if it's not in season. But I'm finding organic grapes right now, so it must be grape season. But particularly good in the summertime. It's just a really good dessert because it's cold. And if you're hot, it's good to have a cold dessert. So my husband edits these videos, and even though I have a string of several waiting in queue to be released, he kind of panics when I say, now be sure and get those time-sensitive ones first, like the shaved ice and the things like that. But he's kind of figuring out what time-sensitive is, in that if it's summertime, if it's something that's cold and refreshing, that's a time-sensitive issue. So this will be a time-sensitive recipe. So chances are, by the time this is released, and today is probably not too far of a span there. And there's things I probably videoed back a few weeks ago that won't come out until the fall, maybe. I don't know. He keeps up with that part, thank goodness, because that is not my strong suit at all. Okay, get all those crumbs in there. We're going to stir this up. Now, if you want to reserve some of the pecans, some of the crushed pecans just to put on top, then that would make a pretty presentation for this. The original recipe calls for sprinkling some brown sugar on the top of it, but it really doesn't need it. Again, that's a sugar. Brown sugar is simply cane sugar or processed sugar with molasses added to it, and depending on if you add a lot of molasses or a little bit of molasses, that's what determines if it's light or dark brown sugar. All right, we're going to pour this in here. I'll try to turn the bowl this way so you can see what I'm doing. Maybe not pouring it on the counter. Again, get all Grandma's makeup out of the bowl. That definitely does give it a weird look. If you'd use just plain powdered sugar or even honey, it's going to be obviously a cream color. It's not going to be dark color like this, but I think this date syrup is really going to add a funky and good flavor to it. If it doesn't, I'll let you know in the comments that it was gross and don't try this. But I think it's going to be good. We'll find out tonight when we have it for dessert. All right, that didn't take long. Give you a good look at that. Hopefully that's getting a good shot. And we thank you for joining us. We look forward to sharing something with you again soon, and I hope you're having a good summer. Thanks.